Well, my post-congestive heart failure hospitalization, my sleep used to be really good. I was getting 6-7 hours a night, 80 scores, and now I'm doing this little 6 days in the home and sleeping terribly. In fact, last night I was up till 2, I slept from 2:30 to like 6 o'clock. It's nice and cold. We had some snow the other day, but that made it warmer here in Bakersfield in the 50s, but today it's probably about 35 degrees out right now, and I stayed in bed a little later, off to do a 10-miler, which will get me from 40 to 50 miles, which be about what a normal week would be. So looking forward to getting out there and getting the miles in. 6 days in the dome, or 6 across the years. Third day, Victor Vilas. If you're at the Kuros 2013, 2014, across the years, you remember Victor, little guy, probably half my size. I believe he was from Malta, though he'd been educated here in the States, and really good runner, had quite a few age group records, and he was terracing around the course, flying along, and probably by this day, started day 2, he was probably way past 100 miles. I was at barely 100 miles. Obviously. He was getting close to 200 probably. And it was funny, when I got to 300, which was my goal, with about 12 hours to go in the race, Michael Allen, an older gentleman who had owned lots of American records in ultra distancing, came up to me and started talking to me, and then he took me to the leaderboard. He said, you're in 11th place. Anthony and Victor in 9th, 10th, and I can't remember which way it was. And he said, they're only at 314 miles. So I was at 300, 12 plus hours ago. Victor and Anthony were like 314 or so. So they're definitely catchable, and they're catchable because Michael Allen, guy who had won an Olympics medal in like the 68 Olympics for cycling, he said, you should catch him. And even though I wasn't really interested in doing such, I figured, well, mile or two an hour, and I'll go for it. Well, ended up being an epic battle for that 9th place. But I was sort of concerned that I knew Anthony was having some medical issues. He later on walked 100 miles in under 24 hours, become a centurion. I knew he had some medical issues, but I was worried that Victor was at a hotel. He'd get online, because it had excellent tracking, and see how close I was, and then come out and run me down. Well, thankfully, because I was being pushed by Martina, I was way past the 315 around, and he came out with like an hour to go, looked at the leaderboard and started tearing around the course, running pretty fast, but he ran out of time. And so whenever I walk by these apartments, I see Victor Vilas, and I always think of Victor. Later on, he showed up at the Dome and drove a lot of people crazy, the Dome in Alaska in 2014. After the grease fall, the Johnsburg grease fall in March, but before I ended up in the hospital with congestive heart failure, I couldn't walk, but I could move around. So my friend Scott, who's doing the 6 day in the home with me, suggested I get a bicycle. I hadn't had a bike in decades for a lot of reasons, mainly because I had way too many people die. But anyways, I came here to Snyder's. It's one of the few places in town that was open during COVID and had bikes. And I bought a bike from them that I now ride at home when I'm doing my cross training and try and ride and do errands. Big, beefy beach cruiser-like thing. But anyways, that parking lot's where I did the test ride, because I figured if I could ride around the parking lot and not fall in front of all the people, then I could get the bike. Snyder's has been around since like 1908. It used to be in the old downtown Baker Street, but it ended up, there was a fire, and so they moved to that new location. One of the few perks of doing a virtual race is you get to pick your poison, i.e. pick where you're going to get your miles. And so today I walked over here to Smith's Bakery that has amazing maple bars and nice ice cold drinks. So I'll be getting one of them and then continue on about mile 2, so about mile 41 or so. Well, miles 40 to 50 are in the books at my 6 days in the home. 48 hours was this morning at 6. So we're at like 52 hours. So 50-ish miles in 50 hours. The goal is at least get 100. Seeing that my biggest week this entire year has only been 118, and lately I've only been doing about 50 miles. Felt pretty good. It was really cold this morning. Only slept 3 hours last night because the body just wanted to move. 7 years or so this time of year, I'm out walking around all day and night. Don't want to do that by myself, but virtual run, walk, I'll do it. So, headed to Smith's Bakery, grab something to eat, finished up my walk. Was chit-chatting with Scott, who's got past 100 miles now, out there in Canada, doing it all on the treadmill, which is just insanely crazy to me. And then thankfully the Weasel met me up for the last couple miles. Made that a little bit easier. Gonna eat something, take a shower, probably head back out and get another 4 or 5 miles in. Got to do 16 a day at least to get to 100 for the week. Not 100 for the week, 100 for 6 days. It's interesting, we were talking about sleep, and I feel really good. I only sleep like 4 or 5 hours a night anyways, especially before the heart failure type of thing. Now on the meds I'm taking, I'm getting better sleep, like 5-6 hours. But it's like people are like, oh, I envy you, because so many people do cut on sleep. Well, most people do need 8 hours. In fact, 7 or 8 is what's recommended. My dad was that way. He didn't sleep a whole lot either. Just kind of some people can get away with it. But, it's a good side when you're, young and working and family and all that stuff. But when you get older like me, it just means you got more time to be up. So I already have 18-hour days, and so today it'll be like a 21-hour day, and you got to fill it up with stuff. One of the reasons I do these videos is just kind of keep myself amused and entertained, especially during these times. And I appreciate all of you who do watch the videos. And, hey, please hit subscribe. I know everybody asks you to do that, but I'm at like 97. I'd like to get to 100 before the end of the year. And, YouTube is now putting ads supposedly even on videos that aren't monetizing themselves. So, hey, get me to 1,000 someday. So that's about it for today in terms of the morning mile session. And as always, stay healthy, be boring, not epic.